What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. I'm your boy NarikChase, and in this video we're going to be reviewing season 1 of Alien Earth. Now, Alien Earth is a prequel to the original Alien film that came out in 1979, I believe, and it follows basically this a bit of corporate espionage, but it generally follows this girl who gets put into an android body, her developing her new being, while at the same time these alien specimens end up crash landing on Earth, and just a whole bunch of chaos ensues afterwards. I hated this series. If you couldn't tell from the reviews, because I did review the individual episodes, it started off interesting from episode 1, but things just kept going that did not make sense. And you would think by the end of the season that a lot of the writing and directorial decisions would make more sense and go into a more positive direction, but unfortunately they don't. There are some positives to the show. It's an interesting idea. There is a bit of corporate espionage, something that I would have loved the series to just dive a bit more into, with not just Weyland-Yutani, but these other competing companies as well. A bit of corporate intrigue, spy, thriller fiction would have done a bit more for revitalizing the Alien series, because at this point, as much as I love Xenomorphs, it's kind of cool to see more of the human element, the more human bad guys, because the Weyland-Yutani Corporation and corporations in the Alien verse in general are the main antagonists alongside the Xenomorphs, and unfortunately it was greatly wasted on the series. Another interesting aspect that they brought into, which the Alien series typically does kind of dive into, is kind of like this he who makes, and then the creator made overcomes the creator. They kind of dive into that a lot, but unfortunately it's not utilized correctly. There are these sick kids whose minds get put into these android bodies, making them effectively hybrids. It's an interesting idea, exploring the morality of, being able to do stuff like that, effectively making a person immortal, what makes people human. And unfortunately, it doesn't do anything with this storyline. The characters that become the hybrids, outside of the initial girl who plays Wendy, she is probably given the most depth in terms of character, but about halfway through the series it just falls completely flat. We don't see them train, we don't see them learning, we don't really see them adapting. It's just the whole idea is just thrown in there, and it's just completely wasted. Another interesting idea is that we know the biggest bads in the alien universe are the xenomorphs, and if you're going along the route of AVP, the predators as well as a multitude of other really interesting and really hardcore creatures that really don't make it to the big screen in terms of the alien films. However, they introduced some interesting new aliens, parasitic life forms in this series, which was an interesting and good idea. They're creepy. They all feel a bit unique, and even though the series completely wastes them, just the overall idea and some of the execution of them are really interesting. And you can definitely feel these types of creatures could make it in such a universe. And it gives a bit more diversity as well. And production wise, for the most part, it looks good. The set pieces are pretty good. Some of the special effects look really good. The alien creature designs are really cool. There are some pretty brutal deaths in the series as well. And that's kind of, well, I will say Timothy Oliphant and the guy who plays Morrow, whose name is Babo Chisei. I don't know how to say the man's name. There are pretty much the two standouts. The girl that does Wendy, she's actually a decent, but it's one of those moments where just the writing. Sydney Chandler, she's probably the most fleshed out character actress compared to the rest of the characters, which do decent enough work. I'm not going to say that everybody, that there's really terrible people here. There are some bad performances, and a lot of that has to do with just the poor performance of the actor, the direction, and even the writing. Overall, the story overly convoluted while at the same time being overly simplified. Again, we have these corporations fighting for control of these deadly creatures. And with all of the power struggle that's going on between Waylu Tani and this new corporation, I can't remember the freaking name of it, Prodigy, you would think that there'll be a bit more corporate espionage, and it really isn't, even though it kind of leads up to it. It's just done, the story itself, interesting. It's like 3 different stories packed into one series, and they don't go anywhere. And you start to see this about halfway through the series. But overall, the biggest sin that this series has, well, let's talk about the Xenomorph. The Xenomorph goes up and down in terms of rating with me because on some sequences, the Xenomorph is completely brutal. The kills are really brutal. It looks really good. Some of the handling is a bit goofy. Some of the close-ups I appreciate the fact that it's practical. It's a man in the suit, but sometimes, utilizing the darkness would be a bit more better for a Xenomorph. That's where they stand out the best, in the darkness. And there are some sequences where it just comes off looking goofy, despite the fact that it's at least practical. There are some really brutal kills. This is probably the most brutalist I've ever seen a Xenomorph actually act in any of the lore, at least in the films. And again, like I said, the different aliens are actually pretty good. But the whole storyline with the Xenomorph might as well should not have been in this series at all. I think the series would have functioned pretty much the same if it wasn't even in there. If it was these crazy creatures that got loose and the people had to deal with it, would have made more sense to just drop a Xenomorph into it and just call it Alien Earth. In fact, it feels it's kind of like that's what it felt like it was. It felt like it was a different series, and they just needed to keep the rights to Alien. They said, "I would just drop an Alien in it." But the characters, for the most part, are utterly ridiculous. Again, Timothy Oliphant and Babu Chise's characters, they are the most grounded, the most interesting, and the most competent characters compared to everybody else. Wendy is an okay character, but she doesn't get a chance to develop. She becomes a complete Mary Sue. She ends up developing powers that don't make any sense, and it's not like all of the hybrid characters, because she's the first, develop the same amount and they could do it too. She just can't do this for no reason whatsoever, and it's never really explained. The writing is absolutely dog crap. It's one of the worst written television shows I've ever seen in my life. It's like, I can't even say a kid wrote this, and a lot of the story themes that are in it does harken to Peter Pan, Wendy, the Lost Boys, and Neverland, and not having to grow up, and Prodigy, and the stupid CEO Boy Cavalier is an absolute dumb character that does not fit into the alien mythology whatsoever. It feels like this show was just some random project that some kid just wrote down when they were like 3 years old. Somebody managed, the wind blew the balled up paper in through the air. It was in a trash compactor, got blown out, got taken out by a rat, was on the street, and it's just like some random guy just picked it up and was going to use it to put some gum in, open it up, and they was like, hey, this is a good idea. No, the writing, the dialogue, absolutely atrocious. Characters, absolutely moronic, stupid, poorly written. The execution of the Xenomorph, even if you at going to the kills, even though the ones that we do get to chance to see are pretty brutal, a lot of the kills are off screen. doesn't really make any sense. Now, for some of the Alien films, we don't see all of the kills. There are more or less alluded to, but we do get to see a lot of the brutal kills, the build up to them. But these are straight up just cut. Ow. There's a scene where a xenomorph runs to a room, kills like 10 people. We don't see it. There's a scene where xenomorph rushes a group of soldiers. We don't see it. And characters again they make the absolute dumbest decisions. The writing is terrible. Just everything almost, aside from the little few glimpses of good that we do get here of the potential that this show could have had, this show is absolute dog crap. Absolutely one of the absolute worst television shows I have ever seen, and I do not take that lightly. I've seen terrible movies, I've read terrible books, I played terrible video games, I've seen terrible TV shows, animated shows, anime. Like, I've seen the worst of the worst. Tubi is a thing, y'all, but this has taken it to a new level. I'm talking, this is Rings of Power bad. This is Halo the series bad. This is Resident Evil Netflix bad. This is one of the absolute worst television shows, and I'm sorry, and I would love to, maybe I'll come up with like a top 10 ways this could have been a better, or how to fix it. And they got a nerve to have a season 2 confirmed. I can talk about that crap too. But and look, these actors are just trying to get paid. I ain't mad at them, but Lord have mercy. The writers, the directors, they don't need to work again. This has been one of the worst experiences I've ever seen. And not only is it just a standalone by a show, it's, if you say, hey, if you take the Alien away from it, not only is it an Alien, like one of the worst, it's probably the worst Alien property, but just like as a show separate from Alien, it's still just terrible. I don't know what to say. I will say this: Alien Earth Season 1 definitely deserves 1 out of 5. I don't know what I could say to just make this better. Like I said, there were some interesting moments, but this show is just absolutely terrible. And I guess they're going to canonize this, so they're rewriting what the aliens can do now. You got this chick that can communicate with an alien, which isn't something that's not too far from the expanded lore, but it's the execution that makes it, that ruins it. So, guys, in the comment section below, let me know, what are your thoughts on Alien Earth? Did you like it? Did you not like it? I guess, what's your favorite episode? Who are your favorite characters, if you get any? And also, how could this show been better? Because I guess I'm going to have to answer that myself. Thank you guys for checking out the video. Be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and that notification button to get the best of what we got going on this channel. And we'll definitely catch you guys later.